Yes, I'm Anna Clements. I'm the Assistant Director of Library Services at University of St Andrews, and I'm going to talk to you about SNOWBALL metrics, which I hope quite a few of you have heard of. This is a global standards initiative for institutional benchmarking. And what is SNOWBALL metrics? Well, these are SNOWBALL metrics in a recipe book. Many of you probably were sent these. They're available to download. It's a set of standard, tried and tested definitions of metrics across the research landscape. They're totally available and openly free for anybody to use, any commercial provider, any non-commercial provider. So far, there are 35 recipes in the book. You can see the metaphor. I don't know where we'll get with the metaphor, but we've got metrics to do with volumes, to do with awards, to do with collaborations, to do with the recognition of metrics, and so on. So why do we need SNOWBALL metrics? Well, I think anybody who's worked in the library, and we've talked about metrics quite a few times actually over the last 2 days, but we want metrics that are defined by institutions, so we want to define them. I think it was Sally who mentioned that this morning. We don't want people to impose them. We want clear standard definitions, and critically we want to try and harmonise those definitions. These metrics are designed by the institutions bottom up. So the SNOWBALL metrics partners are, you can see them there, Cambridge, Oxford, UCL, Imperial, Queen's, Bristol, University of Leeds and ourselves, and Elsevier are also involved. And I'll talk a bit about what each partner does later. So the metrics are system and supplier agnostic. That means anybody can use them. So we use data sources, commercial data sources from our CRIS systems at institutions. We use HESA data, and all of these different applications and suppliers can use them if they choose to do so. Some are, some aren't, and this is where I'll talk to you about how you can encourage them to use it. So everybody covers their own costs in this project. The universities agree the metrics and determine the methodologies. Elsevier help, they facilitate, they distribute the outputs using their global communication networks, and they do the day-to-day project management. And they're also building a SNOWBALL metrics exchange freely available for everyone to use, which I'll talk about later. We are expanding globally. We have groups in the US, in Australia, New Zealand, and we have interest from Asian universities as well, and also some in Europe. So when we benchmark and use these metrics as UK institutions, we want to benchmark internationally, not just nationally. So here I've got a series of a few screenshots to show you the way that we can, they've been tried and tested in a pilot system. So we've actually got the data and shown that it can work within the project partners. And we can show the information at the institutional level. And if we move on, hopefully we can show it normalised by FTE, which of course is essential for a small but beautifully formed institution like St Andrews. So I never forget that our deputy principal actually called us the Kylie Minogue of universities. Right? And he's a very interesting doer Scot, so anyway, it was wonderful. And the other thing, of course, you can drill through into different disciplines. So here we're using the HESA cost centres, so we're using a standard authority list, we're using the cost centres to drill down. And you can also drill down into, say, the type of funding. Now, I don't know if you were watching, but as you change the parameters, then these lines change, because it obviously determines just who's on top and who's not on top. So the SNOWBALL metric exchange, this will go through, and basically what it's showing you is that your data will be kept safely, it will be encrypted, it will go through into the cloud, and will only go to people that you've given permission for it to go to. And the SNOWBALL exchange doesn't hold any of the data. The data is requested and it's sent through, and it's 100% free to use. It doesn't exist yet, but it's being built at the moment. We're also working with the community. Valerie mentioned CASRI this morning. I would echo her call to go and see what CASRI is and what it does, and encourage you to join the UK chapter. Now you can see my misspent youth. Chapter to me is Hells Angels and motorbikes, but in Canada it's something different. We're also working with EuroCRIS, an organisation I've been involved with for a long time, which promotes interoperability through their data model, Serif. And this is a plug for the next CRIS conference. It's going to be held in the UK for the first time. That's in June, later this year. So go and have a look at the website and please come along to find out more. This you'll recognise. Valerie put this up. It's about partnerships and why this is important for research libraries. All these things mean it's really important that we understand the metrics that the institution is using to benchmark and to support their strategy. And we are vital and really important partners in that, both for the senior management at the university, but also, and this is another theme, I think, working with the researchers. So summarising SNOWBALL metrics, They're trusted comparison of metrics. They're a robust standard. They've been, effectively, we're comparing apples to apples. If anybody asks you about success rates, how do you define success rates? They're non-proprietary, they're system agnostic, anybody can use them free of charge. And if you've got Snowball metrics and you want to benchmark against another institution, it's entirely in your control. Their control whether they let you and vice versa. So there's all this traffic light. It's also an international standard, or becoming an international standard, which again I think is critically important. Oh, I can stop there. So how to get involved? So yes, look at the metrics. We use them to inform some of our KPIs. We use the methodologies and promote the use of them at your institution. So why reinvent the wheel? John asked me whether that was a mistake, why? And I said, no, why reinvent the wheel? So ask your supplier about Snowball metrics, whether you use Symplectic, whether you use Pure or Converis, whether you're using SciVal or whatever. Ask your supplier. All metrics are using some of the definitions now as well. And look out for the release of the Snowball Metrics Exchange, which is coming soon. We'll be looking at a pilot version of it very shortly. And finally, if you're interested to know more about all these initiatives, whether it's Snowball, whether it's Eurocris, whether it's CASRI and other standard initiatives, then come to St Andrews in June. In June, it's fantastic. It doesn't get dark until 12:30, so the Ceilidh will go on for a long time. Okay, thank you for listening.